So I'm Clay Walden from Mississippi State University. I'm the director of the Center for Advanced Vehicular Systems Extension. So everything we do is related to industry. So we're very, very much centered on the industry and private sector in the state. So we'll be talking about our engineering engagement work with companies in our state. So we have a beautiful campus. As I know, many beautiful campuses as part of the Southeastern Conference. In addition to the proper campus, we believe as a land grant institution, oh, goodness, don't know how that happened. So we believe as a land grant institution that the entire state is our campus, the entire state of Mississippi. So that means every industry, every plant, every large organization, they do activities that we care about. Everybody who's working in that area. It means each machining center, each cycle of a press, each movement of a robot. These are things we care deeply about and we want to engage with to assist the Mississippi and our state for economic development. And in doing that, we have a wide variety of companies that we work with. Our center is focused on the automotive industry, and so we've developed our programs and capabilities based off of the automotive industry, but we work with a wide variety of companies. Thank you. Now, much better. So we work with a wide variety of companies. And we're very fortunate, the automotive industry, if you can do meaningful work in the automotive industry, then it goes a long way to working successfully in other industries like shipbuilding, aerospace, furniture manufacturing. So these are things that we care about. So we have a wide variety of companies that we work with, and they have a wide variety of needs. You have large OEMs. For example, in our case, we have Nissan and Toyota and other large companies that have great infrastructure. But they certainly have needs that we work on. We also have small, locally owned companies, and they have a different set of needs. So we want to do all that in such a way that we achieve business value. And so this is a map of Mississippi, and you can see from last year, we have about 50 different companies that we worked with from the north part of the state to the coastal part of the state, and a lot of points in between. And so with a wide variety of companies that have a wide variety of needs, you hear a lot of different things, all right? You hear things, we've got to develop the problem-solving skills of our people. We've got to become better at that. We're experiencing excessive overtime in order to keep up with emerging product markets, okay? We're not quite sure how to take advantage of this new opportunity that could result in tremendous new business for us. We need more advanced planning tools so that when we launch a new product, a new vehicle, we know we're going to be successful. So these are just kind of another thing. We're being overloaded with data and information as we have sensors and smart sensors and automatic data collection going on the shop floor. All of a sudden, people are hit with thousands and thousands of pieces of information every day. How do you summarize that? How do we get the right test instruments? Or the one that's always comes up is we've got the next invention that's going to change the world and make all of us rich and employ hundreds of people. We just need you to help validate this test, right? So these are a wide variety of needs. And while we are an engineering-centered organization, to address these needs, it takes all disciplines working together. And so we're oftentimes trying to figure out how to really organize, how to put together teams, how to put together virtual teams that make sense for that company So sometimes it makes sense to bring faculty members in. Sometimes it makes sense to bring students in, and we're glad to do that. But in other cases, it's not. Those aren't the right approaches. Sometimes we need to have seasoned staff that's working alongside the companies. We've learned, we've experienced, we have to listen first. You know, when you go and you work with a company and you say, you know, we're from the university and we're here to help, it's only just a little bit better than to say we're from the government and we're here to help, right? Just a little bit better. So we need to listen, and we look for small projects that we can earn the trust of the company and the managers and the engineers and the professionals at the company. So it's because we build this trust. Then all of a sudden, just like the prior speakers have mentioned, you got different touches, and all of a sudden those things become, we gain together, and all of a sudden they know what we can do, we know more what they need, and the synergies happen, and we can have ultimately transformative engagements, and that's what we want to do. We've learned that there's a difference between urgent and importance. There are some things that are really urgent, and we're just not going to be able to help them with. And it's very good to say that on the front end. So in general, we try to find win-win relationships where we're working in projects that are important, not urgent. Sometimes we need to work in first-order solutions. There's not a need and there's not time for elegant analysis, and so we've learned that. Sometimes you got to work best practices, and not everything is an applied research project, right? And then in engaging with the companies, we love working with faculty, and they bring a great resource that a center could not have at their disposal. And so the diversity and the competence of our faculty, not just in the College of Engineering, but around the university, are important to us. And then that brings student engagement, which we're very glad to do. But these things have got to be pulled by the project or by the client, not pushed by the university. And so these are kinds of things that we've learned. We need to work in blended teams where we have seasoned industry practitioners, people who have been there and done it. And when they deliver workshops, they're talking about not canned training materials, but things that they have done using these kinds of approaches like Lean, Six Sigma, and product development. We've got to invest in people that are highly, highly skilled, highly capable professionals, maybe not PhD faculty members, but they spent 30 years honing their skills. And then we find that helps develop this blended team of faculty, students, and others. And so we believe also that training and workshops really develop projects. And to really learn new skills, you've got to apply them. And so the application of workshop materials into projects is very important. And then we've noticed that as we do projects with companies, there's learning opportunities for those professionals and those folks who we're engaging with. And so it becomes learn by doing, by working projects together. And then we've also seen where more projects will lead to people coming to class. And so you increase these number of touches with the company, develops trust. And so I'm just going to have several little examples of other pictures of our campus. This happens to be in a small town, North Mississippi, called Holly Springs. And so they fabricate armored trucks for the cash and carry business, and so like Loomis and Brinks and people like that. And so we've done a variety of things, and this is a really good example. We were there 3 years ago and did a plant tour and tried to talk to them about plant efficiency and plant layout. They did a little bit, but then all of a sudden, several months later, we heard back and they had a product development need. And so then we were able to bring faculty members and researchers on campus with our more extensive lab capabilities, and ended up developing a new product called their idle reduction. So a lot of these trucks are in idle mode for a lot. They're waiting on things. And so while they're waiting, the air conditioning's running, and while the air conditioning's running, the fuel is being consumed, and so it becomes a very costly type thing. And so this is a project that allows them to go into an idle mode using an alternative power. So it's a great example. And the senior vice president of engineering said, we would not have been able to have done these kinds of projects without access to the university and to the resources. So we were very glad to facilitate that project. Another interesting part of our campus is in another small community, Amory, Mississippi. You guys have heard of Nautic Star. They are a great boating company. Well, they've seen incredible growth in their sales. And so our team worked with them over a 6-week period to really do what we call facilities master planning, kind of working with a family-owned company to help them improve efficiency. And so help them guide them in terms of how they make capital improvements to their facility. We've also have several projects with Toyota. And so we're very pleased to have a company like Toyota and Nissan as part of our client list. Now, engaging with these larger OEMs is very different than engaging with a family-owned company like Nautic Star. So we talked about earlier, industry engagement is all about nuance, right? You've got to be able to understand how to engage and how to find value, and that means we've got to listen. And so in this area, we've done a lot of simulation modeling for Toyota, as well as one of our computer science professors and her graduate students have developed an application on the iPad for capturing problems as they are occurring on the assembly line. Very nice engagement project. Working with Nissan, our center is located across the interstate from Nissan, and so we do a lot of work with Nissan, regular meetings, regular work, and we've probably assisted them on about 50 different simulation modeling projects that have helped launch new vehicles, as well as do regular training with them. One project we're very, very proud of is a project that a couple of years ago our electrical engineering design students worked. They have this thing called clear vision. So when the car is going straight, you like the steering wheel to be straight, so that so when you're straight, the steering wheel's straight, the car's straight, everything's good, right? And so there's a tolerance for the adjustment in the steering wheel. And so our students worked with Nissan and developed this electronic system. You can see it in the bottom part of the steering wheel that measures the angle of the steering wheel as it's going through a test drive. Well, it's a great example, and the students were so into it, they also put a sensor or transducer in there that allowed them to take the vibration measurement at that point, which is very important because that's one of the touch points of the driver. And so as a result of that, now Nissan worldwide standard for this particular test uses the product and the software that was developed by our Mississippi State electrical engineering students. So when you power up the software, the little display, it says Mississippi State University. And it says that everywhere, all over the world. So very exciting. And so simulation modeling has been one of our staples. We found, particularly for the larger companies, there's a need for it, but it's such a niche need that they don't really have the staff to do it. And we've been able to develop a cadre of young folks that have done an exceptional job, and now we're very, very experienced at turning these simulation models very quickly, because we've got to be able to know when we do a model launch, whether a particular machining cell or a particular robotic cell will achieve the required production rate, and will we see problems in the plant ahead of time. We want to be able to work those issues. One of our signature projects, perhaps that it may be the most successful project we will ever have, was we were very fortunate to be part of Navistar Defense's a team that launched the MRAP vehicle. There was about four different 4 different contractors around the country. The MRAP was it's called the Mine Resistant Ambush Protected MRAP. And so these things were launched when the war in Iraq was going on and we were losing so many of our servicemen and women to IEDs. And so we were able to work with Navistar at the very beginning. We were the first of 3 or 4 people on the ground in West Point to help them to regenerate a production facility to make these vehicles. And at the height, there was about 1,000 employees at this plant. And now there's about 300 employees, and they're working on refurbishing these MRAPs that have been produced. Another small corner of our state and our campus is in Columbia, Mississippi, down in South Mississippi. This is another family-owned company. And so they made pressure vessels and things like this. And so the challenge was they had a tremendous sales opportunity to actually produce baskets, hardened baskets for the offshore oil industry overseas. So there's a whole lot of things there that were new. They were a job shop, and now they had to convert that into a float line. And so our engineers working directly with their engineers, their owner, was able to see increased sales by 7 million, and they were able to double their workforce. So these are important little pockets around the state that we want to make a difference in. Another very small example, in Richland, Mississippi, which is a small town just out south of Jackson, they make electrical bus systems for power plants. And so we've done 2 projects with faculty members to assist them. One was they were having heat buildup, and so the issue was, what do you bring? How much forced air do you bring into different kinds of bus network geometry so that you can cool the right area of the network? And then the other project, that was a mechanical engineering faculty member using CFD modeling. Another aspect of the project was based on the electromagnetic fields that are going on here, where are the hot spots likely to be? And so we've been able to make substantial improvement and assistance to this small manufacturer. Another one, very, very quickly, Holmac in Bay Springs, Mississippi. We developed a bumper design along with their engineers. And so this bumper was actually supposed to give whenever you're engaged with a vehicle in an accident type of thing. And they were the first of their class and their product niche area to have this Department of Transportation certified bumper. And here we have an example of where it very likely saved the person's life in that car. So we teach, in addition to doing projects, we teach workshops. We've mentioned that. You can see a wide variety of classes. That's very helpful for us to build credibility and trust with these companies. We have just completed a project with several other units on campus called the Rural Jobs Accelerator project, working with communities and developing entrepreneurs as well as growing companies, and working in strategic clusters of automotive, furniture, and agribusiness. And so after a 3-year effort, we're very pleased to report we've been able to jointly stimulate $30 million in private investment around the state and create and retain 500 jobs. We were able to report that at the White House last year. And then we're working to make it an America grant. And so we're working to reshore items that have gone offshore over the years. And we're looking first to see if we can find a supplier in Mississippi. If not in Mississippi, can we find somewhere in the SEC? And if not the SEC, can we find a source nationally? And so at the end of the day, it's all about achieving business value. So you go to lots of companies with lots of different environments that involve lots of needs and a variety of ways needs are discussed. But ultimately, it's about achieving business value. And we're part of the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program. And as a result, we're very pleased and excited about our results that we were able to document. So thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
University of Mississippi. I was wondering, I was interested in transportation. I have a project about it, and I know that in Mississippi you have the grants from NSF in transportation, and you have the link with the DOT.
Uh-huh.
So, what are the mechanisms that I can use to be part of those projects, for example, being from University of Mississippi,
Yeah.
being from business,
Yeah.
where there is kind of managed by the engineering.
Right. Well,
school.
I'd be glad to talk to you. The University Transportation Systems centers, and we have the Intermodal Center. And so I'd be glad to talk to you afterwards about how to link in. Absolutely. So we work with that center on a couple of projects.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.